Hey guys, John Steingraber here from Signature Realty, broker owner. In this video, we're going to talk about some of the biggest mistakes buyers make. You're going to love it. So if you see anything that's helpful in this video, please like, subscribe, so you can see any future videos. We have a whole series of videos for you. So number one, people let their emotions take over. They make bad financial decisions. Sometimes they overpay for properties. And you know, when emotions are high, intelligence is low. So you really need to reel that in and know that you're making one of the biggest financial decisions of your life. Yes, it's important to have a home, and it's better than renting, in my opinion. But at the same time, we want to curb those emotions and make sure that we are acting intelligently and we're thinking about the long term. And that's really important. So that's, I think, one of the biggest mistakes they make. Number two, expecting no competition, right? So when you put an offer on a property, you have to assume that there's another offer on the property or there is competition on the property. Obviously, if you have a good real estate agent, they will be able to gather some information from the listing agent and let you know what's going on and get you some ammo to decide on what type of offer you're going to be putting in, how low you can come in, how good of a deal you can get. And that's important. But don't expect that there's no competition on a property, that, you know, maybe a house needs a little bit of work and you're like, oh, well, nobody wants to buy this house, right? Yeah, well, there's limited inventory in certain markets and there is other people looking to buy the house and they have their own ideas, right? There's a lot of people out there that are looking to get into home ownership. Rents are skyrocketing. They're so high, and a lot of times it just does not make sense to be renting versus buying. So as soon as those leases are up, people are looking. Submitting low offers and expecting a counter. We get this a lot. A lot of buyers say, well, let's just start at this. Let's throw in this lowball offer and see what they counter at. And what that does a lot of times is that insults the seller on the other side. You have to remember that this is typically their primary residence. They're emotionally attached to their home. And somebody coming in with a lowball offer when they have their asking price up here and you come in down here, that's going to insult them. And many times you will not even get a counter. They will simply reject your offer. So keep that in mind. Even if you end up going up, they might not end up taking your offer at that point because they feel that you're going to hit them over the head in inspections, right? Asking for a huge credit to try to get back down to the number that you originally put in the offer at. Psychology is a big part of sales, and that's why you should have a good realtor on your team to make sure that they're guiding you through this process and looking at the comparable properties in that geographic area. One thing to understand, you know, now while you're watching this video, it might not be the case, but as of right now, as we're shooting this video in May 2021, the market has very low interest rates, very low inventory. So there's multiple offers on many properties and the values are going up. But what people don't realize is that if you were to buy this same house a year ago for $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 less, your monthly payment would actually be higher because interest rates were higher. So although values are going up, interest rates have significantly came down and has given people a lot more buying power, meaning that the affordability has actually either stayed the same or gone up, meaning it's cheaper to buy homes from a monthly payment perspective. So that's a really important thing to decide on when you're buying properties. Should I buy a property now or should I buy a property in the future? If you buy a property in the future, unfortunately, you're probably wasting money on rent and it's possible that the values are higher. So that entire amount of rent is basically out the window, and now the property's appreciated, interest rates might have gone up a little bit, and you might have a much higher cost of living next year. So, you know, you got to evaluate all those things in the market. Adjustable rate mortgages, I think those are a huge mistake. Interest rates right now are at all-time lows, and it is a big risky, it's a risky decision to say, all right, I'm going to get a mortgage that has an adjustable rate, meaning in 3, 4, 5 years, it can change. It can go back up to whatever the rates are at that time. The economy is uncertain. You really do not know what the Federal Reserve is going to do with interest rates, and unfortunately, you have no voting power against that, right? There's nothing that you can do if interest rates go up or down, And if that changes your monthly mortgage payment, it could put you in a negative cash flow situation, and then you might potentially lose your home. So you don't want to get involved in the adjustable rate mortgages, because you get to save, 0.25% or 0.5% on your loan. It's just not worth it. Okay, there's other strategies to pay down your mortgage or get your interest rate down more and to really make good financial decisions, which we can walk you through, right, at Signature Realty. Making a low deposit, right? When you put in an offer, people don't understand that that deposit is not lost, right? You're not going to lose that deposit as long as you don't breach your contract. And in many times in New Jersey, it's very difficult to lose your deposit. So talk to your attorney. I'm not an attorney, but the reality of it is making a low deposit just makes you look like a weak buyer. So you want to put a good size deposit. And if you are not comfortable putting a big deposit, you certainly want to submit a proof of funds, right? A bank statement or a letter from your bank indicating that you have this amount of money in stocks, or maybe a certified letter from your accountant that you have the money available to put down as a down payment and for reserves. Assuming attorneys are always right. This is a big one. We see attorneys that get involved late in the transaction, right? You and the realtor are discussing the price, the terms of the contract, and you submit an offer. And then in attorney review, the attorneys start renegotiating that contract. And a lot of times they're giving advice to our clients that aren't necessarily in their best interest, and they kill the deal. And that attorney just didn't know how competitive that market was. We've already discussed it. And it could have been a non-negotiable term, right? Meaning if you limit your inspections to only major mechanical, structural, and environmental, you're still protected as a buyer. But if your attorney goes back and then tries to renegotiate that, it's going to make it seem to the seller that you are, you've misled them, right? It was a bait and switch. And that is not good because people get very emotional about this. And you have to remember, we're dealing with humans, right? We're emotional beings. So really talking everything through with your attorney and having a conference call with the buyer's agent, the agent that's representing you, is going to be key to the success of your transaction. That way they could give them some insight on, what are some of the most important things. Not being flexible when it comes to your terms. The more flexible you are in your terms, the better it's going to be. And by that I mean everything from your home inspection to the down payment, deposit amount, etc. We did a whole video on price and terms, how to make your offer very strong. You might want to watch that video, which is on our channel. Taking things personally. Don't take things personally, right? If somebody counters your offer or they don't accept your credit, don't take it personally. Just make a decision and ask yourself, in the future, 6 months from now, 12 months from now, is this really going to matter? Is $1,000, $2,000 difference really going to matter? I see deals die sometimes over $1,000 or $2,000. And the reality of it is, it's not over the $1,000 or $2,000, it's ego, right? And people let their ego get in the way of their goals. There's a great book by Ryan Holiday called Ego is the Enemy, and he breaks this all down. And don't take things personally. It's just not worth it. Don't let your ego get in the way. And then do a before video. When you're at the property and you make an offer, do a whole video of the property. That's important. Why? Because you're documenting what you made an offer on, right? If you go to do the final walkthrough, and this could be 30, 45 days later, right? Before you buy the property, you do a final walkthrough just to make sure that the house is still there, nothing burned down, there was no theft or anything like that, and that the sellers left, the appliances behind if that was included in the contract, things like that. I went to a walkthrough one time and they had swapped out all the appliances. There was brand new appliances there, and then they swapped them out for old appliances. And we reached out to our attorney. We said, hey, we're at the property, and they said, what's going on? I said, we're at the walkthrough. We can't close because there's different appliances here. We're not buying these old appliances. We made an offer and there was brand new appliances. We assumed that those would be it. And the attorney said, yeah, absolutely. They can't just take out those appliances and swap them for another one. And the seller had no idea. The seller thought, well, I said a fridge and a stove and a dishwasher and a microwave were going to be included, but we never specified which one in the contract. And the attorney explained it to him, that doesn't matter. What was there is what you have to leave there. It's kind of like, if you walk through the house, you assume that you're not going to switch out the light fixtures of the house or the switches or the cabinets or the doors, even though you're not specifying the model and serial number of every item in the entire home, right? That would be a 500-page contract, and that would take forever, and people wouldn't sell their houses, right? So that's really important. But if you don't have the documentation that this is what I made an offer on, and now you have an after video to show the difference, or if there's additional damage, it's going to be really tough to make that argument. So getting that before video is going to be really important. So if you're getting value out of this information, or if you think somebody else will get value out of it, another buyer, somebody that you know, maybe they don't have experience buying homes, definitely let them know about these videos, but like this video. So the algorithm, you're telling the algorithm that this is good information and more people should know about it. Put a comment below, and if you like this and you want to be notified about more videos, please subscribe and hit that bell button so you're notified. I'll see you on the next video.